Do you know how a beetle finds its prey?
That's a cockroach.
It smells fear. The smaller insect is afraid because it knows it's weak. The beetle senses that fear and hunts it down.
That's a cockroach. Cucaracha, Periplantia americana, ya fucking moron. Welcome to another two-parter. We open with Marco helping his dad paint the apartment when they discover a handprint turkey Marco made years ago. This gets them both pretty nostalgic and thinking about Marco's dead mother. I wish to emphasize again that Marco's dad has made a significant emotional recovery from where we saw him at the beginning of the series, slacking off, watching TV, and blowing off job interviews. Here, as he was in his last appearance, he's doing a lot better. He's working again, and he seems genuinely happy. This is a big emotional leap for a character that really should have been properly addressed. But while the writers on this show felt like expanding some crazy bag lady from Animorphs 1, giving one of the main reoccurring characters a proper character arc moment seems to just be beyond them. Look at them, goofing off like that, and what the fuck? Do you know how much paint costs? And we live in an apartment, we'll never get our deposit back now, it's all on the carpet, oh! Cut to Jake's house, where he catches Tom getting a mysterious phone call. Deciding to get some intel, he morphs Homer and eavesdrops.
I was at the EGS tower today. The new Kandrona is secure.
The new Kandrona? That implies that this is either a second Kandrona or a replacement Kandrona, which begs the question as to why they would need to install another one. That question is going to become very important a handful of episodes from now. Tom also mentions that everything is ready for the arrival of Visitor 1 before noticing that Homer has mysteriously teleported to the backyard. Yeah, you really thought that one through, Jake. Luckily, Tom doesn't get too suspicious. Jake goes to Marco's place. Wow, look at how far they got. Guess that's what happens when you just dump an entire bucket of paint like that.
I just found out the Yeerks have a second Kandrona. They're keeping it at the EGS tower.
The EGS tower. The one from the future that Elmo guy.
The Elmist.
Yeah, that guy. That he showed us?
Yeah.
Wow, it's almost like that Elmo guy didn't actually need to show us. This has just gotten a bit redundant. Jake suggests destroying the thing, but Marco says it's too big of a mission and he's out. Sure, going past enemy lines to throw water balloons full of oatmeal, that's one thing. But hitting an actual target, that's way out of their league, man. Marco brings up his mother, pulling out a picture that this time actually does have the actress playing Marco's mother in it.
And things are finally starting to feel okay. My dad's doing well.
See, even the episode brings up that there's a huge improvement. This is an actual plot point. It's just too bad we couldn't have seen it happen. Marco laments about how he misses his mother, and Jake responds that he misses Tom too, and they can only get him back if they keep fighting. Wow, way to make this about yourself, Jake. So Jake, Cassie, and Rachel show up at the EGS 3-story building in the middle of the woods. Whatever that is. Axe isn't there because that's just what Axe does in this series. Never show up for missions. Was there some stipulation in Paulo Costanzo's contract that he had to miss half the episodes? Marco shows up at the last minute, having changed his mind, and the four of them break in. Somehow. At the very least, Marco points out that was just way too easy, and they should have run to security by now, but the rest of them tell him to shush up. Eventually, they find a door to what appears to be hell.
This is the same sound we heard coming from the tower when we were with the Elmist.
There could be anything in there.
Because nothing says suspense like fairy dust noises. Rachel and Cassie keep guard while Marco and Jake morph Lizard, which sets off the morphing detector. Okay, let's talk about that. They're introduced in an earlier scene in Yeerks Labs, that one where Visitor 3 confuses a cockroach for a beetle. It detects morphing energy like the stupid fire alarm detects my hookah and alerts security. which is fine, even though it only apparently detects the act of morphing, not anyone actually in a morph, and it seems to have a very limited range, so its usefulness is minimal, but hey, it caught these clowns. The problem is that, in another moment of TV Yeerk stupidity, these morph detectors appear to be the only real form of security in this entire place. Morph detectors work in a limited set of circumstances. They are a supplement to a security system, not a security system in of itself. This is where you're keeping the Kandrona. This should be the most secured place ever. What happened to the biofilters? There should be biofilters all over the place. Every inch should be covered in security cameras. There should be security officers on constant patrol. There should be laser tripwires in highly secure areas and in the ventilation system. The fence should be electric. The doors should be locked. We've seen so many elements of Yeerk security over this series, but they seem to be of the mindset to only use one kind at a time, out of a sense of fair play or something. So Jake and Marco demorph in the room with the Kandrona when the alarm goes off. As they try to escape, Okay, I'm not really sure how to properly explain this. Walls come down around them, sealing them in a metal box, which is then launched into space without any apparent change in the infrastructure of the building and in no way harming the Kandrona. A trap that requires its victims to stand in a very specific area, and instead of killing them or holding them for the guards already inside the EGS tower, whatever that is, it takes them to the Yeerk mothership, second only to the Yeerk pool in its importance in the invasion. Have I mentioned how stupid the Yeerks are? Cassie and Rachel break into the Kandrona room with little effort to find the boys gone. The guards close in, so the two of them make an escape in the ventilation shaft and try to find a way out.
No, Cassie, it's too small.
If only we could change into smaller things. At this point, the soundtrack kicks into this neat little song that really fits the atmosphere, and that's one thing this episode does better than anything else. Atmosphere. From Marco's private reflections at his apartment to the Animorphs struggling in this desperate situation, the soundtrack, lighting, and set design are pretty top-notch this time, save for that random fairy dust noise. Cassie and Rachel reach the end of the vent, where they have to make a pretty big jump to get out.
Just go back the other way. I make bigger jumps than this in gymnastics all the time.
So the two of them make it, and holy shit, special effects! Honest to God, decent special effects. Did this show win the lottery or something? So Jake and Marco land on the mothership and morph Cockroach.
Where are they?
It's almost as if the Andalite bandits have morphing powers or something. Seriously, why didn't they just kill the supposed Andalites they had captured with biofilter technology? Or if they had wanted the Andalites alive, why not fill the little room with gas and knock them unconscious, making them incapable of morphing? And why wasn't there video cameras and microphones in this thing so they could record everything their prisoners did? This is probably what pisses me off more than anything about this series. Not the changes they made to the books, not to the lack of budget and special effects, but because the villains are so fucking incompetent that it deflates any actual tension in the situation. At no point can I really say that Animorphs the TV series gets exciting. It's sometimes funny, sometimes touching, and sometimes crazy. But at no point do you ever feel like any of these characters are in any real danger whatsoever. I know I hark on this all the time, and I don't want to become like Phalis, whining about how the 1987 Turtles weren't to his liking in Turtles Forever for half an hour, but it's the singular biggest flaw in this entire affair.
Just one more screw and we can pull this thing down. Okay, then you go get Axe, and I'll see what I can find around here. It's too dangerous to stay here. If we leave, the Yeerks are going to move the Kandrona, just like they moved the entrances to the Yeerk pool.
Wait, they moved the entrances? That's news to us! Makes you discovering another entrance back in episode 10 an actual big deal. Or it would be if you couldn't just morph ferrets and spend an hour digging to it. So Cassie and Rachel decide to double back and destroy the Kandrona. Back on the mothership, Jake and Marco have morphed out of cockroaches and are now just wandering around willy-nilly, because even they know the Yeerks aren't something to take seriously. They end up in a big assembly room where Visor 3 gives a congratulatory speech on their capturing of a few Andalite bandits, meaning that security has yet to inform anyone of their escape. Visor 3 then introduces Visor 1, which, as you know, is Marco's mother. We'll see just how the game changes in part...
Shelby! Woo!
No? What? Oh, God, Nickelodeon was stupid sometimes.